let's listen to some more music. We've got to finish off this thing, haven't we? We've got to finish off Biophilia. Biophilia, it's Biophilia. Okay, so we looked at, up to dark matter last time. Hollow, virus, sacrifice, mutual core, solstice. Let's get through it. So what's going on with hollow? Is that loud? That's pretty loud. Ooh. How's that? Better, definitely. Well, an interesting beginning. A slow sort of build, isn't it? Two different notes to start with on what sounds like an organ. We're down on C, and then the next note is E. So we start with lots of C's. C, 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 E, C, C, E, C, and then we go up the whole tone scale like that. So it's from C to F sharp to D to, let's say, G sharp, and then to A sharp or B flat, and then back to C. Okay, C and E. Now the rhythm here is almost impossible to exactly work out because we're really going in sort of a wishy-washy meter. It doesn't feel like any of these have a pulse behind them specific. It feels like they are following a different regime, less beat based and more emotional, more natural maybe. Similar to the beginning, but not quite the same speed, and not quite the same set of notes. Actually, it might have been the same set of notes. It's those, and then a lot of C's and a few E's, and we did end on an E last time, so it's very similar set of notes, but it's not quite the same speed. Okay. It's quite fun as well because we've got an overtone on that note. It overall sounds like a low C, but there's this overtone which is about there, this A flat. I'll try and listen for that. Can you hear that? Which adds a really sinister feel, I think. I mean, the sinister feel might be there anyway. We're using this whole tone scale, which is our strangest, let's say the strangest standard scale. It's not really very standard, but it's sort of, you know, the one used when you're going, ooh, I don't know where I am. So it has a sinister feel to it anyway, but we do have these overtones adding. This is our kind of main chord. Is that what, an augmented chord? I don't know. It's a dyad again. Not clear from the other overtones what's going on there. That shouldn't even really be an overtone as far as I'm aware. I guess maybe in the 4th octave it does come in. Maybe in the 5th. Don't know. Anyway. Okay, there was an extra high note there, D, so it is still part of our scale, but it's just an octave higher than anything we've heard so far. Okay, now we've actually got two parts. We've got that low C holding on, and then F sharp and E, so still within our whole tone scale. Okay, and we got octave E's there for a moment. Oh, but then we got a B. B's not in our whole tone scale. We should have B flat, or we should have C. But we had a B for a moment there. Okay, but all of these other parts, we've actually got a higher C being held down now, while the low part moves before was the other way around, it was doing something like that, and then we got that B, and then we switched over. Okay, same set of notes in same order actually. That ba, 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 seems to be somewhat of a theme. Okay, and then we got ba. Let's just check how that fits in. There's the B. Okay, so it goes to there, and then that's our finishing chord there. Low C again with an A flat at the top. Interesting. You can also, if you're listening hard, you can hear things occasionally tinkling in the background of this. It's not the cleanest recording. It's hard to record instruments like this, which are basically big, massive organs normally. It's hard to record them without any artificial sound getting in there, or outside sound. They've done remarkably well here. It's very, very quiet as far as most organ sounds go, but nonetheless they are getting through. Okay, so there's our pause. Oh, okay, much faster. Okay, and we got a hollow from I guess Björk there. It's still using mainly the same notes. They're getting a bit more flustered now. I think we did have one more B in there from the bass, so that's the only thing that's sticking out from our whole tone scale here. Yeah, still all the same notes. All the same notes of this whole tone scale. That kind of limits us because it's only 6 notes. Normal scales would have 7, and we do have one note coming in occasionally. Okay, Björk is now going to come in. Björk is now going to come in with more of a melody. Let's see how it goes. Okay, it's not too complicated. E to F sharp, while the other voices sort of hold this C, and then there's this A sharp comes through in the background too. Low, that's a new note, is it? No, it's a D. Okay, never mind. Okay. All whole tone. Actually, that is like classic Björk melody there. Really simple, stepwise, only using 3 notes. You might even get that on a previous album, just not in this context. Okay. So we're getting more regular beats now, aren't we? Everything feels a bit more regular. Low. So in the background there, we're getting this G, which is rooting us to more of a C5. So these whole tone notes don't seem quite as strong. Well, maybe they seem a little more discordant when we've got that G in there as well. That was in the choir. Okay, yeah, it's hard to actually look at each individual set of notes here because they are changing so much. They feel almost unplanned in some kind of way. Maybe they were planned, but they seem like it's almost just a picked individual note of this particular whole tone scale in both parts, the low organ part and the high organ part. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with those. We're going to be looking more at the speed of what's going on and Björk herself. Okay. Yeah, those are some really discordant. I think it's probably an F sharp and a G on those low voices there, saying abyss, which is kind of appropriate for the note, for the word. Okay, and we're also starting to get more noise in the background, like ambient flutters. Keep listening for those. Yeah, there they are. So it's almost like there's a drum doing something behind a really strange filter. So it's going. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of building up in tension. We've got an A there. So the voices are weirdly much more free, the background voices, than the other instruments. The other instruments are keeping pretty much to this whole tone scale. Even Björk herself is keeping to that whole tone scale. But then there's voices adding in extra notes like that G and that A there, just to desettle even that unsettled whole tone scale. I like that. So something you can. So that's a D and a G sharp, which are tritone apart, going to a C and an F sharp, which are also a tritone apart. Something you're only ever going to really get if you're playing around with whole tones. I mean, you can do that with chords too, but on their own like that is really unusual, and yeah, it's very, very special to this kind of strange whole tone sound world. Okay, so now we've kind of got a different registration maybe on the organ, or maybe it's just the lowest notes being played. So those high ones have completely gone just in that lowest octave. There's a lot of air around the sound. Okay, cool bit of melody there, going up a minor seventh, which is very different to the melody we've had so far, which has mainly been stepwise motion. Okay, there's our melody again, our melody fragment in the bass. We're getting kind of sounds in the well, maybe in the organ, or maybe just related to the organ. It sounds like something connected to that. Okay, so the organ sounds like it's morphing. The tone of it has changed from something which is quite bright into something which is much more kind of nasal sounding. That is very bright, but it just has a different timbre to it. It's hard to describe timbre. Someone should come up with some real codified timbre terms, because I'm fed up of things like nasal, bright, dark, dull, hooty. They're just so subjective. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. Okay, but yeah, it's clearly powering out that note. Okay. Yeah. We've still got mostly the same kind of stuff. It feels very linear, this piece of music. It does have some structure, seemingly, but, well, a lot of it is very, very similar, and things are just fading in and out, slowly changing. A little bit minimalist in that respect. Okay. Yeah, we're occasionally getting that B a little more often suddenly. Okay, and everything's obviously building up a lot. Yeah, no, that isn't. I keep getting unsettled, even though I know what notes are meant to be in the scale. Things just keep throwing me. Like different combinations of the same 6 notes. They all just sound so far from each other. It's amazing, kind of. Okay, and now what's happening after DNA? We're stopping on that chord, which is mainly those notes, maybe with a D in there as well. Let's just check. I can't hear the D actually. Maybe it's just the 2 notes. And we restate that afterwards, but we do have a pause after DNA. Okay, a perfect 5th. Very different to what we've had before most of the time. We did have a 5th earlier for a bit, and now that's what we've got here. Well, it's actually a 4th because we've got the C on top and the G underneath, but they're sounding like that, the C power chord. Let's hear that again. Yeah, it does actually have a no, that's an E. Okay, so it's feeling quite like an augmented chord with the A flat, the C and the E, and that was so powerful, that last E. Yeah, so it's clashing with the G held in the voices and that. So we're getting a sort of augmented chord, or an augmented chord with a normal 5th as well, or we could call it a major chord with an added flat 13. But either way, the main thing is we've got this big clash between an A flat and a G. Okay, and now we're somewhere else, but we're obviously still using the same scale. We're just in a different key center. We're based around the D now rather than the C. Hilariously, because the whole tone scale is the same distance between each note, it's whole tones. If you move it up a tone, you've actually just got the same notes. They're just moved up a tone. And that's what's happened here. But it sounds a little bit different, but still massively very much in the same place. Okay. That's in our scale. No need to dwell over it. It was interesting though. It sounded nice, didn't it? Okay. Yeah, that's in our scale. It sounds a little bit more tinny now, doesn't it? It's moved up just a little bit and it sounds really tinny. But there have been morphs going on this organ the whole time. Yeah, changing the timbre of it as it goes on. Yeah. It feels almost occasionally like we actually get a major chord. We don't have that that 5th coming through there, but when we get the F sharp and the D, it's like, ah, yeah, nice and relaxed. But then of course it goes off using these other notes, which just make it sound totally otherworldly. What's that chord? That sounds really nice. We've got that at the top. Hello. Okay. Hello. I think that's what we've got. So we've got an interloper, which is not in this whole tone scale, and that's this A. The whole chord is an augmented chord with an added major 7th. So let's get that there for you. Ah, it's a really nice chord. Let's just hear it again, see if I'm right. It's actually got that in It's not quite right. So we've got that and that. I'm not sure we've got the third of that chord. So that's much harder to describe. You could see that as a 7th chord, but then you've got like a flat third extra, or a sharp 9. So our Hendrix chord, I don't know, well, whatever it is, it's really nice, sounds amazing. It's like the climax of our piece so far. Okay, so now we've got real synthesizer going on. It's not just the organ, which is still in its strange area. Okay. Alright. Okay, and we've got drums, and they are these classic program drums. They sound a little more under control than previous tracks on this album. And they're giving us a clear beat, even if it isn't clearly in 4. I can't pick up on where the 1 is half of the time, but it's definitely giving us a clear beat, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, and we've got a clear sorry, I'm just taking a picture of something cool in my lava lamp. Nice. You should get a lava lamp. They're very fun. Good present. Thank you, Mum. Yeah, so we are getting a clear actual motif there coming through regularly in the organ. Yeah, so it's like, but that's a really simplified version. Let's listen. It's very close to that. Yeah, I think so. That's it. No, sorry. Okay. Almost that, anyway. It's still using our whole tone scale. We've got 2 parts. They're not moving independently, though, and they're not moving in a completely unfathomable way. They are moving in a regular 9, I think. Thinking about it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, and then we repeat. So there's a regular 9 here. Nice, it's a regular 9, but it's kind of in like 5, then 4, or at least that's how it feels to me. Maybe the drums feel different. Okay, and we do actually have another organ part on there. That was nice. We got a nice 7th chord there. On the C. Maybe we're back where we used to be. Okay. Yeah, we are back where we were on C. C is our main note. We've got a nice organ thing which has a major 3rd overtone coming off it now. So we're getting this kind of thing, which works just as well as the flat 6th in the context of the whole tone scale, because major 3rd and flat 6th, minor 6th, that is, they are both intervals which are a major 3rd apart, really, and so they're very easy to continue with in the whole tone scale, because the whole tone scale supports the same intervals the whole way round it. Okay, but we are actually not still in the whole tone scale. Allow me to rearrange. We've got an interloper again, and now it's actually in the organ. In fact, it's totally different. Totally different to our whole tone scale, except it sounds super, super similar. Oh, yeah. I think this is our scale now. C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B flat, C. So it's almost like we have changed the most troublesome of those notes, the flat 6 here, where we're going sort of 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, sharp 5, flat 6, and then obviously this is a flat 7, and then we're there. We've changed that confusing note in the middle there. You could argue it's the flat 4, but I'm not, sorry, sharp 4, but I'm not here to do that. We've changed it to a 5 and a 6, as you would expect from a scale. So now we have a quite nice, well, a tetrachord there and a tetrachord there, and both of those feel relatively standardized, even if they still had a really strange feeling when being put together. But what is really destabilizing us here is our lack of clear beat again. The organ is still playing fairly regularly in beats, but the voices are completely antithetical to that, in a totally different world. They're doing a completely different thing, going way off the beat and not following any kind of tempo that I can work out, at least. Okay, and now the organ's gone a bit crazy. Yep, going very much faster than it was before. And off into nothing. Oh, and then this sounds like our beginning. Yep. Did you hear it again? We got that very fast. Something like that. And yeah. All these notes, it's hard to play things like that where all the notes are really close to each other on a guitar. Maybe I should start doing this on keyboard or piano. Okay, so that is the 7th melody we had earlier. This is mainly whole tone stuff. In the background voices, they are coming in with some unexpected things, but I can't work those out. Okay, that's more of a standard Björk melody, and it's not in whole tone. Just pentatonic, maybe C minor pentatonic. Okay, yeah. So you've got the voices giving you different different resonances to what the organ is doing. So, and there's also some drums going ba 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 ba, really adding to the fright of this bit. Yeah. Okay. Taka 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 taka. This can be as well. Oh. Okay. I could only hear those notes in that last chord, and then some of the voices came out early, some of them came out late. God knows why that would be a decision to make, rather than just letting them come off together, but let's just hear it one more time. Yeah, so low is that low note, the C, but then we leave the D and the G holding on later. So that's a sus2 chord, C sus2. You want it to resolve to C. sus2 chords are a bit sus though, because actually they can be sus4 chords. That could be a G sus4 and resolve to G like that. Uses the same notes, just with a different intentionality about it for some particular reason. Anyway, that was a super weird song, was it not? No particular repetitions, but we ended in a slightly similar place to the place we began. We never went too far from our tonal center. We were always using either C or D. When we were in D, we were still using the same notes, so it didn't feel too far away. But those voices in the background were trying to carry us somewhere else. At that end, they carry us to a much more seated C tonality. It's not, you know, it's not C major, it's not as twee as that, but it's still obviously C major, or, well, obviously strong like C with a normal fifth, so major or minor. Even if it went there, which is unlikely, seeing as the amount of E we had in the whole tone scale would suggest C major. Anyway, the point is, we've sort of come to rest finally at the end there. They've been pulling us towards different types of rest throughout, including that really cool chord halfway through. What's that pulling us towards exactly? I don't know, but it's lovely. Maybe that. Nice. Cool. Well, that's Hollow. I would say Dark Matter is harder and weirder, but Hollow following it is, yeah, longer and still very weird. So that is the difficult part of the album done with. I think Sacrifice is a little bit strange, but A Virus is going to give us some real calm now. So don't you worry. So Virus, eh? Yeah. So a lovely timbre shift from the insistent piercing organ that we've just left. Now we've got these really light, airy pitched drums. I don't know exactly what it is. It kind of sounds like bells, like foundry bells. I only know that from a patch, so I might actually be totally wrong there. They might not sound like foundry bells at all, but the foundry bells patch that I've got that is on Spitfire Audio, I think, they sound like that, and they sound really, really nice and clear. Doing this kind of thing, so it looks like we're probably in a D flat major tonality here. Sounds pretty straightforward so far. So in the lower part we've got these. We do also have a B flat being held down for us there. So maybe a B flat minor tonality is really what we're talking about here. And we've actually even got an F below that, so maybe we're a second inversion kind of thing. Anyway, it's just notes, isn't it? It's just notes within a tonality rather than a specific chord. Okay, and those very obvious metallic bars sound very like crystalline, don't they? So we're going back to a texture we have known previously on this album, and it's quite satisfying. Okay, and that's going in a it's sort of insisting triplets on top of this ba da 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 ba da 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 da. So we've got two competing meters, if you like. One is in twos, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and the other's 1, 2, 3, 2 and a 1, 2 and a 3, 4 and a 1, 2 and a 3, 4 and a.
Like a virus.
Okay, we've got those kind of of bass sounds coming in as well. Björk really nicely giving us those 1, 2, 3 of the D major scale. Again, we're not necessarily feeling D major, we might be feeling B flat minor, but they have the same scale, and that's what's going on here.
It's a body, a soft tissue, feeds on blood. Someday I'll find you.
It feels like there's a slow 3 across the whole thing. I might be wrong about this, but it feels like we're going 1, 2, 3. Let's try and count it together. Let's go from the beginning. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Convincing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, definitely. So definitely got 3 beats in a bar here. It's pretty regular. That's really comforting after what we've just had on Hollow. This is really a nice place to be, even though the name of the song is Virus, which doesn't indicate happiness, but I guess this album is somewhat positively aligned with nature of all varieties, and viruses are a very maligned feature of nature, aren't they? Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to talk about music. Yeah, I love that. So we've got 3 chords here, definitely, and we're looking at a B flat minor followed by A flat major with a C in the bass, going to a nice D flat major there. Really satisfying, very simple chord progression. It's like a 6, 5 in first inversion, 1, 6, 5, 1. Very, very straightforward. And the melody there is one of the most elegiac, I don't know, very, very nicely composed. Yeah, with that beautiful 6th jump in the middle. Yeah, it does come down all the way there as well. Yeah, it's really nice, the textures of this song. You've got the soft but airy and nonetheless percussive sounds of those foundry bells, the very, very clangy metal bars, vibraphone maybe, metallophone of some description, maybe glockenspiel, I suppose. They're very sort of, I would describe them as like tangy, because they have this very bright kind of sound, which I associate with very sort of both sweet and sour things. And then you've got these really muted drums, and all of them go together in odd combinations, linking in a very different spaces. Well, different sounds in the same space. They're all so distinct, but they go together in really nice ways. And the thing is that Björk's voice then has a different timbre to it, a much more much softer and more legato sound than any of these other things. So it stands out a mile, and it just floats on top of this percussive texture. Okay. So this is kind of like the second verse, and the texture has changed quite a lot. Let the metallophone, the glockenspiel, probably take over what the main backing is here, and that is much more in your face in comparison to what we've had previously. Do you think there's anything in the lyrics which says why mushroom on a tree trunk? as the protein transmutates, I knock on your skin and I am in. Ooh. I don't know. I don't know if it's anything to do with that. I can't work that out. But they are much more at the front of the mix, aren't they? It's so clattery. It's really good fun. And they're staying around for this part as well. It feels thicker, it feels broader. It feels like there's more going on there, even though it's kind of just the same things. They really love that F coming out there very, very strongly, and the D flat, I guess. Anyway. Yeah. They don't really root down the tonality. Interestingly, they feel almost like a melody instrument, but they're constantly doing the same notes. It's a very strange thing that they're adding, whereas the foundry kind of sounding things in the background are really rooting us down and giving us the thing we can hold on to, which is keeping on going through this song. Oh. Okay. A different kind of place now. We're in A flat minor all of a sudden, or G sharp minor, with a clear 2-chord thing going on between E and A flat. You can tell that because of the bass. The other stuff is pretty hard to make out. The chords that are in the voices and the other instruments are very, very unclear because it's so thick now. We've got extra voices in, and they're doing their own scales and not necessarily singing the chord notes. But that bass, or that it could even be just a held drum sound, boo, that kind of thing, is really holding us to those notes. That is a really crazy change though, because we've been here and then we're down there, which is a big shift of tonality. Yeah, and the scale. We're going all over the A flat minor scale. Building up towards this bit, contagious, really nice. Okay, so that welcome note is a pivot note between these two key centers. It's that A flat or G sharp that then is going to take us, well, that's what the metal bars play. They play whatever that is. A C sharp, no, a C. They play a C. Okay, and that takes us away from our A flat minor tonality, which would have a C flat, and back to our D flat.
Like a flame.
And there we are, with clattery sounds. Yeah, but then we're back in D flat, as we expected.
Seeks explosives as gunpowder needs.
So we do still have the 3 going on back here, this slow 3, but because these clattery metal bars are a little bit more chaotic than the soft foundry bells sound. Could be a hang as well, I suppose, making that sound. But because these are much more chaotic, we don't quite hear it in the same way. It is there, and you can bounce your head to it if you want, but it doesn't quite feel as stable.
You are, I feast inside you. My host is you. Ooh.
Aha, there. I think actually it might be well, it's probably not missing a beat. It's probably just that Björk doesn't start on the first one. But anyway, we're in now. We're in back into our chorus bit, our chorus ooh. Everything just adding in those beats when they can. So irregular, but so regular. Okay. And then we're back again with the E. Okay. The E chord, which takes us to G sharp minor or A flat minor. Björk singing, maybe with a bit more force here, but both times we've gone to this, it has been such a step up in emotion in comparison to the, or in passion maybe, not necessarily in emotion, much more passion, and it's talking about the perfect match, yeah. So it's yeah, really sort of beautiful, romantic stuff. And we've got this sweet version in the main section. Why do I keep playing that? I mean, in this D flat section where really sweet love, so serene, and then this is that real passionate stuff. Yeah, yeah, holding on that. Yeah, great. And the swirling voices. Whoa. Okay, we got something strange there, didn't we? Yeah, we are just okay. I say we just, but we're shifting from A flat minor to a G major. We're now a long way away from D flat major. Okay, and then this kind of thing, F sharp minor, D minor. Oh no, sorry, B minor. Let's hear that again. Yeah, it's sort of the bass goes something like G, F sharp, E, B minor, but we don't get all those notes, and the main point there is that we are now in a B minor tonality. B minor after we were in D flat major to begin with. Then we got to this A flat minor, and now we're in B minor. Those are some really really far-flung key centers. Ooh. Yeah, and we're getting something more like things we would hear on other parts of the album here. This is much less sweet sounding, but nonetheless, ending on that G. What's going on here? So there's our G, F sharp minor, and okay, so we're not really in a B minor, I apologise. We've got this B augmented kind of feel here. It sounded like we were in B minor for just a little bit, but now we've got the added D sharp in here, and the G or the F double sharp, so we're looking to move somewhere else. We're not going to stick on that for long. Yeah, and that sort of fades out to just the G. tonality just for a brief.
like a virus.
Okay, and now it's very similar to our verse section, our fourth verse, but we are in E flat rather than D flat. Let's rewind to hear the first one.
Like a virus.
Okay, and now let's,
Like a virus.
yeah, we're higher.
Patient hunter, I'm waiting for you. I'm starving for you.
So that feels all just like the other section, especially like the second one where we really did just have those metal bars. We've just got the metal bars here, but they seem a bit more under control, a bit calmer. Patient hunter, calm, stalking his prey, just like this song. And this is what we are now. We're in E flat. So we started in D flat, then A flat minor, then B minor maybe for a little bit, B augmented, and that resolved into a E flat. Really crazy journey. And we've still got a minute and a half. Yeah. So this is happening just very similar to what we had before. I think we get a downwards bass there rather than stepping up. So we get a full 5 chord. It's not full, but we get the 5 with the 5 in the bass and then to the 1 chord. But it's working just the same way. Such clattery. I mean, to be honest, these could be like bells. It could be like a Celeste sort of situation because they are so clattery. I don't know how you would do that with metal bars. We are getting strange, just a few strange notes coming through there. It felt like there was a D flat in there. Yeah. We had that melody up an octave from that even, but we are also getting, yeah, the D flat as well as the D. Yeah. Strange. It's like we are here, but then occasionally we just have that note. It seems like it's on the third beat of the bar each time. So yeah, it's fun. It's like we're in a really sweet major, and then we just have that little bit of spice. Björk herself is not indulging in that. She's singing very lovely major pentatonic licks. It's interesting what pops out because I do keep hearing, yeah, like that kind of riff coming through. Okay, and this feels somewhat like a bit of a freeness, this ending. It feels like it's one of those long outro things where people just keep going, keep adding new ad-libs on the top, and even the tinkly stuff sounds like it's ad-libbing a bit. Oh, and the fade, and then we're left with, wow, some intense tinkling. Wow. Yeah, alright. nice. And then that. That just lingering on into the night. Wow, what a beautiful song. Beautiful song with what a collection of sounds. Yeah. It feels like it's giving a very simple message of sort of bonding and love, yeah, like, you know, intertwining, and it's doing it in such an original manner. It's really cool. Anyway, Sacrifice. Yeah, so I love this. It feels like, did anyone play Jill of the Jungle? Jill of the Jungle had a pretty awesome soundtrack as far as I can remember, and some of the MIDI patches, at least on my version that I got, really sound like this thing that's going on here. Even the sort of tonality, the harmony of it sounds like Jill of the Jungle. It's such a cool sound because I think it's made on an acoustic instrument, but it sounds so very synthy, like an early synth. Yeah. So we've got that happening in that low part. Sorry. Something like that. So it's keeping the same rhythm throughout. 1, 2, but it's changing notes a little bit and keeping the same sort of direction of the notes always. When it goes up, and when it goes down, it goes down. It doesn't always go the same distance down, but it does always move in that direction each time. And then you've got the Björk's melody over the top. Something like that, and that's doubled in the instrument too. This might be the sharpest chord. I'm not sure about that. Carrying on. Okay, we took out a beat or two there, which was interesting. Into a small space. I guess because you're compressing it into a small space. That's a little bit on the nose for me, but it definitely works. Gets the message across pretty well. Less clear riff in the bass here. We're rooted around a B flat major chord. We got that nice voyance A, making it a major 7th at the beginning there. Okay, we're still on this B flat. So we're holding this a long time. We've been used to these chords changing. Well, one a bar, one or two a bar. Okay, as in we get one bar or 2 bars. Every 1 or 2 bars we change chord. But now we've been on this for at least 8 bars now. Okay, and then we go down. So after that whole thing is held on here with different resonances again coming and out, then when we get to this next bit, we're back to our verse, if you like. Okay, extra voices have come in again. We've got a very sort of limited palette on this album, which is cool, but it does mean that a lot of the tricks, if you want to call them that, are used up by this point in the album. That they're still sounding good, but they aren't sounding novel in the same way that they did when they first appeared. Though interestingly, they do sound much clearer. They're much clearer Björk-likes. They sound like Björk has done all the voices here, whereas not all the voices on the album sound like that. So that is an interesting texture in comparison. It sounds, you know, thicker, richer than the other ones, which are slightly more wispy voices. Anyway, we're back to our riff. The melody is slightly less adhered to here. In the first verse, it was more clearly following the instrument. Whatever it does. But here on You Cannot Answer, we're not following that at all. We're just making some extra melody. Okay, but that is the same as it was before, and again following the other instrument. We've not got much going on here. We haven't got any drums, we haven't got any other instruments. It's really just this one instrument playing two parts, Björk singing one of those parts, and then extra voices coming in a little bit.
Now she regrets the whole thing, a delayed reaction.
Okay, still, now we do have coming in low but heavy. Feel that? Ooh, there it is. Okay. Okay, and we've changed. We've become a really thick texture. It feels like Björk is really getting pressed by those sudden drums coming in. The sharpsichord, if you like, I'm not sure it is the sharpsichord, but that instrument in the background, that is still there, but now we're in a bit of a B flat minor tonality rather than a B flat major tonality. Yeah, with definitely a lot of that 6 in there as well. So totally different all of a sudden in this bridge section. God, they're so aggressive, those drums. Triplets, yeah. It really feels like a thrash metal thing that has been gifted into electronic music. It's a very strange feeling. And Björk is singing a lot higher as well. She's up on the C and the B flat. Okay, and that has all blasted away. We really just held that tonality all the way through there, just the B flat minor, and we're still there now. Oh, okay, it didn't actually feel like minor there at the end. It was more just a power chord, and then we're back to our first section. Same as it was at the beginning, exactly the same. Different words. Okay, really nice. Same again. Okay, we have held on that F just a little bit longer, F major 7, a little bit longer than normal. It feels maybe a little bit lower in the mix, maybe just softer. I'm not sure exactly if she's singing softer or if she's deliberately lowered in the mix, but it feels like the other instrument is dominating at the moment. Okay, and we've got that. Yeah. So you can hear it coming. You can hear it coming in that line. Oh. And then we're back in with those aggressive thrash metal drums. But now it's over that F chord with that nice low F major 7 riff. So we have this very strange feeling. Also, the drums have an A resonance to them. So that's in the F chord, but that A is a little bit lower than this F. So it's sort of making it feel like the F is not where we're aiming for here, and that we are going to shift back to A minor at some point. Very interesting contrast between the sweetness of Björk's voice there and the aggression of the drums. We've got sort of woo, something like that going on in the background as well. Just in those, yeah, fourths. Okay. There it is. So it's really giving us F as the final tonality. Okay, with a final fifth of F, C. That's the final thing going on, leaving us a little bit unsettled, but going with the F of the instrument rather than the aggressive A coming through in the drums. That's really interesting. So the drums feel like they are taking up all the space, and then actually what's left is just the voices. That bit sounds a bit like Medulla, actually, the earlier Björk album, which has loads and loads of vocals on it, mainly vocals, like very, very little of anything else. And it felt like Old Birtan or something where there's a specific Björk full vocal texture. So that was a nice reminisce we just got there. Cool song. Kind of straightforward, but then we have just a bit of added push and pull with the lengths of things. So it feels like we're in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but occasionally we're just missing beats. We have extra bars added on, and then we have these sudden aggressive hits of drums which fade away as soon as they begin. Yeah, interesting. I don't know how that relates to Sacrifice, but it's cool. It's a nice sound. Okay, now spoiler alert, this is my favourite on the album. I really love this, and I'll try and remain unbiased, disinterested. Okay, this is a classic organ kind of sound. We've got those together, which is nice. Okay, giving us I guess E flat minor tonality, maybe D sharp minor. I guess that it's probably got fewer. I think they've both got 6 flats in them or 6 sharps, so never mind. But yeah, that's where we are. Kind of pentatonic, but we've got the bass of the thing is doing something slightly different. Yeah. Is it there? Let's just check that. Yeah. So the chords don't match up as you might expect them to. We get this kind of thing to begin with, which is like an extended F sharp major chord, if you like, and then this, which is a 7 sus4 chord. If we want to think of that as the bass note, which I think we probably should, then it's G sharp 7 sus4, and then to this, which is our D sharp minor with an F sharp in the bass, so it's first inversion, and that's kind of our main center. We've got those slightly ambiguous chords as our main things. Okay.
I shuffle around.
And then, yeah, Björk is adding a 7th to that chord. Okay, which is just nice.
The tectonic plate.
Straightforward melody so far. We've got windy sounds in the background. In the previous 3 songs, they have come intermittently and not been particularly prevalent, but now they are really a mainstay of the texture. Whoa, yeah.
You know I gave it all.
Yeah, and that's such a nice shift around there. The harmony changes. It keeps the same sort of rhythm, ba da 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 da, but now it's ba da da da. Yeah, and we go to this B flat major chord, or A sharp major chord maybe, which would be our like major 5 in this minor key. We're sharpening the 3rd of that chord to make a major 7th, so we can get a really beautiful perfect cadence. That would be the ideal, but then we shift to 4 minor of the key, A flat minor or G sharp minor. Although, what's that bass note? Okay, we've actually got a really super low F as the bass note, so that's not saying A flat minor or G sharp minor. That's actually saying F minor 7 flat 5 with no 3rd. Maybe we've got that in there to make us a nice jazzy French sounding chord. Actually, it's a little bit, yeah, I'm not entirely sure it's exactly an F. It sounds a little bit lower, but let's just assume it's an F. Yeah, so that's our tonality for that. Back to the A sharp. Okay, and now this feels more like our actual G sharp minor, because we've not got that strange low note anymore. We've got a second inversion, so it's still a bit strange. us back to our F.
A mutual
Oh God. And then she holds that with this crazy chord, and slowly the chord forms around that note. And then she even moves it once it's all formed. Let's just work. So we go, and then we get that note in the top and the bottom actually. So you've got that. We've got the F, and then the A flat comes above it. But and the A flat comes down here as well. Really, really beautiful plagal change. We've been sort of building up to a perfect cadence there, but we instead get this plagal cadence, and it's a test of Picardy as well. We get that major third rather than the E flat minor. We get the E flat major. Whew, beautiful. Lovely. Straightforward. We've still got some strange windy sounds in the background though, and they are desettling us a little bit. Okay, and now those windy sounds become much more of an actual rhythm. Drums, who knows? Anyway, it's something rhythmic that is very indistinct, going.
as your fingernail grows.
But they're coming in and out, which is unexpected. We're back to where we were for the first verse. Simple melody around these four notes, which we could say are C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, and F sharp, or D flat, E flat, F, and G flat.
To counteract distance, you know
Goes up to these higher ones, A flat and B flat.
I gave
And then we're changing. Oh, not quite. There we go. I can't quite work that out just now, but it's a way of getting to B flat instead of our main tonality of E flat minor.
Can you hear the effort?
It's those rolled R's. They're the best. They're the best. Björk does them so well. Effort. It's really cool.
Of the magnetic stripe.
So here, the bass note, if we have that low F, it's not so clear
Can you hear the
because of those low things going on.
effort of the magnetic stripe?
Do you think we have a meter here? Do you think we have a time signature? We definitely have a meter. Sorry for being unclear there. Do we have a time signature through this bit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Unclear really, but it doesn't seem like we have a strict set of beats for each thing. It seems like it's made to fit the words, because we counted more or less 9 for the first one, 9 or 10, and then 12, and then this was what, 13, 14. So it doesn't seem to fit to a standardized grid, rhythmically at least. Anyway, we've got back to our E flat. Oh, but things are going a bit crazy. Oh gosh, I love the crispness of these drums now. Now, what's going on here? We've got this super cool melody. We'll hear it in a mo. Huh. Yeah. This is really cool because this is big power chord stuff. This eruption and stagnation. That's just classic Björk there. Very stepwise. Other than that beginning where we've got the 1 5 8 5 1 5 8. Really stepwise, really strong in comparison. She's been singing mostly a little bit lower, a little bit quieter, more reserved, and now this is a more well, maybe not angry exactly, but definitely more intense vocal delivery. Okay, as well as that, we've got drums going bah, 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 in a classically aggressive situation, very similar to other stuff we've heard on this album. And then we've got these rising voices, like we heard at the beginning of Cosmogony, which I didn't look up, and I should have. Let's call it Cosmogony. And so we're adding these things together, but now in a new context. And also, we've changed key. We're now in G sharp minor, like we were in Virus. Cool. Nope. What is another sound we have here? Oh, let's. Yeah. Okay. So those drums are building up to. They feel again slightly chaotic, slightly unexpected when each one's coming in. You're never quite sure if they're going to go on the beat or just before the beat, and we've got no other reference points other than Björk's voice. That is the only thing that is giving us any rhythm at the moment. Okay, and now in this part it's very similar, but we've lost the voices that were in the background, and we're just into a heavy groove with these aggressive drums, which do root us to that note actually, which is interesting. Something really well thought of. I mean, it might just be a bass sample, but it's really good if people think about what key their drums are in, because if the drums are constantly hitting something that doesn't go with this, like, you know, that note, then it's not gonna sound good, is it? So, but these ones sound amazing. So the voices are coming back there. We've got a thing going on that line too. Yeah, which feels like a sort of chromatic downwards line there. It's not quite, but it's something similar to that. Also, they're working at the same time as Björk just on the last bit there when she goes in you. The drum hits are in you at the same time, which I think sounds amazing. I think it sounds really good. How to describe that? It's like we've been eaten. Björk's voice fades off with a big classy delay, and yeah, just fades into na 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 na. in a classic EDM style. And then yeah, gosh, I don't know. Let's move on. Okay, a fade back in. We can still hear those drums fading away. Hundreds of different hits going back into the background, but now we've got this tumultuous thing coming back in, and the fade up of our organ, which has been absent for the previous section. This is very similar to the initial version, but we have definitely some stranger, let's call them wind noises. What are they? Who knows? Something on this particular line going crazy across the panning field. Oh, yeah, fun. So in all of these parts, Björk's melody doesn't necessarily line up with the chord. She's not trying to give it all, specifically get that seventh with that chord. It just sometimes happens that way. She's basically singing in this key instead. What's that? Yeah, I guess D flat major rather than E flat minor. She's not specifically rooting herself around that, at least not in this particular bit of melody. She does a little bit, but she ends on that note a lot as well, so it's more like a Mixolydian D flat or something like that. Okay. But she does at least get away from that sharpened seventh of the key there. She doesn't sing offer me a heart, either of those notes, or she doesn't sing either of those, which is good because it means that there's no particular dissonance until we get to that mutual chord, as we know.
If things were done your way, my Eurasian plate subsumed.
There she does actually go down to that one. That's slightly unusual, but we're just on the G sharp minor anyway, or the A flat minor. I don't know what key we're in here. She's picked really difficult ones to describe. And this is so interesting. But it actually goes to the E flat major before she gets there this time. Forming and then it's already there. Forming a mutual call. One of her best ad-libs. I think she suffered from nodules shortly after this album, but God. So her voice is a little bit tortured, and I think it's pre-nodules going on there. But this particular ad-lib, and that, because so we've got this E flat chord, straightforward, but then adding the seventh, and then as the chord fades away, we end on the minor sixth. What? Well, and we're not even staying there, except because we're going to this G sharp minor chord. That's the third of that chord. So really, this E flat is acting as a 5, going to our new key center, which is really cool. Like a perfect cadence, and one that is basically imperceptible, but it is there. Okay. Very similar, this section now, to the previous section, but we've not got those voices in yet. So it's so much more open, and there's not even much reverb on Björk's voice here either, so it's so in your face.
Stagnation, you didn't know I had it in me without our love. And
Okay, and there the voices come in, they're raising.
when capsule, I didn't know you had it in you. This eruption.
Okay, and now we're back into the groove like we were before. This aggressive. Sorry, that does it a disservice. It's much cooler sounding and much less repetitive than that Tresillo or 332 kind of rhythm. Sorry about that. And she does something different now, which is sort of against what you would want. She doesn't do the. She does, but she does it a little bit early too. So that bow 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 is coming after she's started it, and so they don't line up quite as well as they do in the previous one. We had a wow in the background there, which was nice. It's sort of a pre-echo of this last phrase. Okay. Being eaten in slightly a more aggressive sense at the end here, with some real noise going on. Yeah. What a cool song. Just so cool. So interesting. So fun to listen to. So enjoyable. So exciting. Yeah. And then we've got Solstice. Which may remind you where we came into this album. That's where we came in, and this is almost like that. But we are in a different mode. Before, we were kind of in E minor, weren't we? I think we were, yeah, in a general E minor vibe, but now we're actually in E Phrygian. Sorry, not E Phrygian, but A Phrygian. So that means we've got that spicy ass B flat. And what's really interesting about this in comparison to Moon, which we started with, Moon has very specifically two instruments, one in one place and another in another, whereas this seems to have instruments from all over playing different notes. Either that or each note from this instrument is panned in a different place. So maybe we're actually inside the instrument itself. So each of those different notes is coming from a different place. Even those two, which are the same note, they came from slightly different places and had slightly different timbres. So what's our beat pattern here then? Can we work it out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. But we're kind of back where we were, aren't we? Okay, well that's definitely where we were. Okay, so let's count across the first 25 seconds how many beats we've got. And that's a full repetition. But we do seem to have a second, like 2 sections here, at least. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 38. 38. Well, a little known thing about 38. If you halve it, you get 19. Let's see if it cuts in half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Well, it did, but hilariously, it's missing that first note the second time, and I think the second note is also different, so we have to kind of wait for this one to come in on the third beat. At the same time, these two could be upbeats, and that could be where we're meant to come in, and if we listen to the voice, that kind of makes sense as it comes in here. So let's hear that. It actually comes in on when, that low note. So maybe that's our first beat of the bar. When. So I can't be bothered to work out what the particular set of notes all the way through this is, but let it be known, it's the Phrygian scale of A, which means we've got all the normal notes of A apart from the B. So we've got B flat, C, D, E, F, G, and A. And all of those notes are accounted for already, whether it be through Björk singing or through the riff that's being played on this harp across our stereo spectrum. There's also a very adorable amount of manual noise going on with each of these plucks. It's like the wood is moving with whoever's playing it. Björk is a little bit lower than the main part of the riff, which is on these notes, and the low note that's coming out is lower than her, so we're fitting these things nicely together, but it's still really sparse texture, very, very close. I take it back. Now she's in exactly the main part of that riff. The maybe to give it more gravitas, she's bringing it higher and singing it stronger, and also making it more deliberately in focus, so the other thing that's higher than it can't be heard past it.
Branch from the start.
Another great roll dial there.
You remember why it is dark and why it gets light again.
A very, very well, let's say ad-lib melody, just fitting the fitting the words in to the notes, but I think when we're going to that B flat, that's very deliberate. The other notes are not quite so deliberate, much more naturally found, but that B flat is really deliberate. Okay, now we've changed bass note from that A down to a G, and we've got a lower riff going on here. Well, some of it's lower, and now we've gone away from that, and now we're just doing some B flats. Björk sitting between those B flats on a C and a D. Well, just from these notes, it's not actually clear the intention of what's going on here. It feels a bit more comforting than the other section. Doesn't feel quite so knife's edge kind of. Yeah, there's something about that beginning which makes me think of someone, you know, alone and deeply depressed. But this is much more comforting now than that.
Slopes in its sea.
Yeah. See. So, what you would expect from a shift from an A Phrygian mode to B flat is that it would be in the Lydian mode, keeping all the same notes, but now having, instead of a flat 2 and a flat 3 and a flat 6 and a flat 7, because this is our tonal centre, we've only got a sharp 4 different from the major scale. So it's such a big difference. From this kind of tonality to this tonality. With that sharp 4, and she's utilising that now. It's very, very beautiful. Especially because it's so sparse. So we've just got those B flats being held. It's not like the other section where we had a riff taking us to slightly more tense combinations of notes, and then well, slightly less tense. Now we've just got those B flats offering us nothing other than that, and then Björk is filling in the middle with that Lydian scale. And we're back to our G tonal centre now again. G minor kind of thing. But it's so short lasting. Interesting. Yeah, but we're going back and forth between the B and G minor. G minor, if we were going to get more than just those 4 notes, it would probably be Dorian. Dorian mode with the minor 3rd, but the normal 6 is very powerful. But we haven't got anything other than those notes. And we're back to B flat. We're back to G minor. And we're back to B flat again. And that was really nice. We didn't have any Björk in the middle there, so it was just B flats going up and down and up and down. And now we're back to G again. Okay. And you can tell from those notes, even though they are clearly not the beginning of the bar, you can tell what's going to come next. That A, and now we're back into our Phrygian centre. Again, using that B flat really deliberately in this tonality. I think that's higher than we've been before. Going up to the C. sounding. Yeah, it's very good. It's so in your face while being so soft. Oh, that's interesting. We've changed the riff from being a full 19 to, I think it's just that. Let's hear it again. Okay, that's a full riff. Maybe I'm wrong. Alright, let's just say I'm wrong there. Let's just go back a bit. No, yeah, it does happen. Interestingly, just seemingly happens those 3 times, or maybe 2 times where it's shorter. Why? I have no idea. Maybe so it fits a bit better with the voice, but that's such a curious decision to just repeat that small part rather than the whole thing. But it does cut this first bit up to there from what comes after that, which admittedly I think is less interesting. Yeah, you got me. I don't know why, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're back in G and probably going to B flat again as well. Yeah, interesting. So this is all we've got from the harp there, but Björk goes. So we get that of the B tonality. No, sorry, the G tonality, adding that major 6th, and then it's the sharp 4th of the Lydian tonality on the B flat. Beautiful. So same thing is going on here between those 2 sections. We're just moving between them, so that the tonality, or the sort of, I guess, intention of the notes keeps changing. With this, we don't, with a G minor sort of tonality, we don't expect that 6 specifically to go up. I mean, it's the closest note, so in some ways we do. We probably expect it to go there on the way to the G, but really it's easier for it to fall down to there. But because we keep changing to the B flat tonality, that really does prefer it to go and sit on the F. So yeah, the notes have a different pull depending on what they're sat on. That's quite nice. We've just got these B flats, and she sings the major 7th there. It's so open that singing the major 7th is very strong, and intense, and upfront, and all these things which make me want to cower. But it's so powerful, and I just bask in it. So there's that C again. Okay, that's a line we could have had in the A minor tonality, and just think how different it sounds in that to when we're here or here. So different. That was fun, wasn't it? Much more melisma than on most of words here. Yeah. Again, just a bit of B flat on its own. Same thing we did at the beginning, the first time this happened. And now it's a G bit on its own, and then we're back into our A bit. And Björk sounds so dead, so weak on this last bit here, and it's flickering sunflake, whatever a sunflake is. It's so moving, so moving. Yeah. A little bit, like, she's so rarely flat, but there was just a little bit unpolished. Just that little bit lower than it should be, because she's singing it with such delicacy. Gosh. Yeah, and the last thing we hear is just a little bit of rustling from the hand on the wood. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Fade out. Wow. So to recap that one, we've got A minor Phrygian tonality for the main section, with a lot of specific use of that B flat for extra pain, and then sometimes we go to some interesting brief G tonality, G Dorian tonality. Never with the third there though, so it never feels like a really aggressive Dorian. And then a lot of the time we're just on these open B flats with Björk doing something in the middle. Yeah, really cool. The melody goes wherever it wants to. Sometimes it seems more intentional than other times. The backing seems very, very deliberately chosen and programmed in a very do not deviate fashion, but then we did find that one deviation which we which I can't explain. If you know anything about that, if you are Björk and you can tell me why you did that specific thing, I would love to know. But I think we will leave it there for now. That was 4 hours of talking about 10 tracks. I will try and keep it briefer in the future, because I think it's a bit intense, especially as God knows these are probably going into the garbage bin of the internet with very few people listening. So it seems a bit worthless to go on at such length, but I just love the things, you know. So yeah, I will probably do something next week as well. I might try and fit in something else, because this is all very intense and I just don't want to be constantly doing very intense stuff. Maybe just a jam, but I think I might do something on the weekend, which is just looking through some new songs, trying to find some new songs. Jolly good. Well, see you guys. Bye bye.